What if the woman folding your kids' laundry was the same one who quietly stopped your company from sliding into a $250 million disaster, and you never even realized it? Lucas Harrington always believed he'd surrounded himself with the sharpest minds money could hear see. But one late-night code glitch proved him wrong. The real genius wasn't sitting in a boardroom. She was padding through his penthouse in mismatched socks. What happened next didn't just rattle his company. It shook everything he thought he knew about talent, loyalty, and second chances. This isn't just a story about fixing Codsey. It's about the people we overlook, and what happens when we finally see them for who they are. And trust me, the twist is still ahead. No one paid attention when Clara Bennett slipped into the executive suite on the 39th floor of Whitestone Innovations. She wasn't supposed to be their C. No badge C. No tailored power suit. Just a navy blue cotton uniform, a little rumpled from chasing a 5-year-old around a penthouse all morning. She was only there to grab Ethan's forgotten tablet charger. That's it. In and out. But then she saw it. On Lucas Harrington's laptop screen, lines of code scrolled like a silent alarm. Messy, overloaded, looping on itself over and over. Even a rookie could see it was about to blow. And Clara? Clara was no rookie C. She froze for a moment, the charger only inches from her hand. She could have grabbed it and walked away. She should have walked away. But she didn't. Instead, she slid into the chair. Her fingers knew exactly where to go. Her eyes traced the logic, found the feedback loop, and began to rewrite C. Calm face, racing pulse C. She reshaped the functions, ran the test, and watched it execute clean. Like magic. Like oxygen. There's C. Breathe, system, she whispered. Then, a voice behind her sliced through the air. What do you think you're doing? Clara shot upright. The screen blurred. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Lucas Harrington, CEO of one of Chicago's largest tech firms, stood in the doorway, looking at her the way a man looks when he's just caught someone red-handed. I didn't mean, she swallowed. Ethan left his charger her C. I saw the code, and it was instinct. I swear. Instinct. His voice was ice as he stepped closer. You had no right to touch that. I know. I'm sorry. But your main function loop, it was strangling the whole logic stream. I fixed it. It was spinning like, she searched for words, like a hamster on Red Bull. Lucas just stared, first at the screen, then at her, then back at the screen again, as if waiting for it to glitch. He stepped forward, slid into the chair, and tapped a few keys. The program ran smooth as glass. No stutters. No endless loop. Just perfect execution. His team, a hand-picked squad of Stanford and MIT All-Stars, had been wrestling with that same bug for 2 solid weeks. And she'd crushed it in under 5 minutes, in a nanny's uniform, without so much as a heads up. You just saved a $300 million deal, he murmured, eyes still locked on the monitor. Clara took an uneasy step back. She couldn't tell if she'd just earned herself a promotion or a lawsuit. I'm sorry, she whispered. If you want to fire me, I get it. I crossed a link. Lucas lifted a hand for her to stop. He didn't answer right away. For a moment, it seemed like he might not answer at all. Then, finally, that was brilliant. Clara blinked. What? Now he was looking at her. Really looking at her. Like he'd never seen her before see. Who are you? He asked. She gave a nervous little laugh. I'm your son's nanny. No, he said flatly. You're not. Her smile wavered. So, am I still hired? Or did I just promote myself to accidental hacker? Sit down, Lucas said, gesturing toward the chair. If you're about to give me a lecture on boundaries, I'd rather stand. Easier to make a run for it. Sit down, Clara. Please see. It was the please that did it. Against her better judgment, she sat, smoothing the front of her uniform as if it might shield her from whatever was coming. Lucas folded his arms and tilted his head. Where'd you learn to program? Riverside Community Library. Shelves K14 through K18. She replied with a smirk. Python for beginners. Data structures for dummies. Free code camp. And your nighttime Wi-Fi. By the way, your signal's flawless at 3 in the morning. You used my Wi-Fi to teach yourself coding? Technically, she said. I was already on the premises. And you never told me not to. Lucas let out a breath. Part disbelief, part admiration. How long? 3 years, she said. Every night after Ethan went to bed. Before the sun came up. He studied her like she was a puzzle that had just rearranged itself right in front of him. And before that, he asked. I was halfway through my computer science degree at Granite Ridge University. But then my sister Sophie needed MC. Our parents passed away. I had to choose, tuition or rent. He didn't say anything, so she kept going. I chose rent. Groceries. Keeping the lights on. You gave up, he said quietly. I chose survival, Clara shot back, her voice calm now, almost defiant. In your world, maybe that looks like failure. In mine, it's the only reason we're still standing. Lucas leaned forward, his eyes losing their E to GC. You're right. Clara blinked. She hadn't expected that. And I was wrong, he added. She let out a slow breath, torn between smiling and crying. Maybe both. Something shifted in that moment, subtle but electric. It wasn't just gratitude for saving his company. It was as if Lucas suddenly saw her as someone who could dismantle more than faulty code. Someone who could dismantle his entire worldview. "Would you teach me your approach?" he asked. "The way you spotted that flaw in the loop." Clara laughed softly, shaking her head. "Seriously? You've got a team full of PhDs. Whole departments dedicated to this stuff, and none of them caught it." She tilted her head toward the door. "I'll explain. Later. Right now, Ethan's probably turning your living room into the next Jurassic Park sequel." As she reached the doorway, she turned back. "Oh, and Lucas?" "Yes. Not everything that shines comes from Harvard, boss. Sometimes it comes from someone who just refuses to stop polishing." And with that, she was gone. Lucas stayed frozen for a long moment, the glow of the monitor flickering across his FACC. The code still ran flawlessly. The numbers didn't lick. But what echoed in his mind wasn't the fixed bug. It was her words, her fire, her eyes. Something had changed. He just didn't know yet how far it would go. "What about you? If you were in Lucas's shoes, would you trust a nanny who secretly fixed your code?" The very next morning, Lucas Harrington did something he hadn't done in years. He came into the office early. Not for a board meeting, not for an investor call, but to set a test. A quiet on-see. He opened a spreadsheet on his desktop and slipped in a flaw, a tiny but deliberate error in a formula. Not glaring enough for casual eyes to catch, but the kind of thing that would gnaw at anyone who knew their way around data. Then he walked away, pretending to forget about it. By 10 o'clock, it happened. A sticky note appeared on his monitor. "Your spreadsheet has the hiccups. That VLOOKUP is doing cartwheels. Fixed it. You're welcome, C." See? Lucas stared at the note for a full minute before breaking into laughter. She'd seen it. Fixed it. Left a note as casually as if she'd scribbled lunch instructions. And the fix? Impeccable, C. He opened the fill C. The formula had been rewritten with such clean, deliberate precision that his original looked like it belonged in a preschool math workbook. Lucas rubbed his face and leaned back in his chair. No, this wasn't luck. Not even class C. The next day, he decided to up the challenge C. On his tablet, he left a tiny, sloppy Python script open. It worked, technically, but the indentation was a disaster, the kind of mess that would make any disciplined programmer twitch. By noon, a note appeared. "Whoever formatted this should see a therapist. Tabs and spaces are at war. I negotiated peak C. All's well. C. P. S. Use 4 spaces. Always." Lucas actually laughed out loud. Ethan wandered in, tilting his head. "Why are you laughing at a piece of paper, Dad?" "Because," Lucas said, folding the note, "someone smarter than I thought." He grinned. And funnier, too. By Wednesday, he decided to really push her. He created an absolute eyesore of a PowerPoint deck. Comic Sans font, neon yellow text, star wipe transitions. Then he left it wide open, practically daring her. Her reply? "My eyes bled. I fixed it. You're welcome, C. C. L. B. Comic Sans is a crime against humanity. And she hadn't just polished the slides. She'd completely reorganized the content. Clearer, sharper, more persuasive, C. She even added a title slide that read, "Let's not assault people's retinas." Lucas felt something spark inside him. Admiration was too small a word. Curiosity didn't even cover it. Thursday's test was more devious. A buried JavaScript recursion error, subtle but dangerous. She spotted it in 10 minutes. Her note: "Your recursion was as lost as a tourist without Google Maps." Added memoization and cleaned it up. Now it sings. C. L. B. Recursion without discipline is like Ethan on too much sugar. Chaos. By Friday, Lucas had stopped pretending this was just harmless curiosity. It wasn't. It was fascination. And maybe something more, C. So he saved his toughest challenge for last. Real financial data. He scrambled the formulas, mislinked the sheets, threw in inconsistent formats just for fun. He figured she might catch a couple of mistakes if she was lucky. Instead, when he came back, the entire spreadsheet had been rebuilt from the ground up. "Boss, this was a hot mess. I did a full remodel. Pivot tables, charts, conditional formatting, even a dashboard. C. P.S. If this were a house, I'd have bulldozed it and started over." "You're welcome, C." Lucas sat back, reading the note once, twice, 3 times. Then his eyes drifted across the apartment. Clara was on the floor, surrounded by blankets and pillows, building a crooked fort with Ethan. Her socks didn't match. Her ponytail was barely holding together. And she was laughing like the world had never tried to break her. That night, long after Ethan went to bed, Lucas found himself still awake, C. Not just thinking about the spreadsheet, or the flawless cod C, or the millions she'd saved him. No, it was her. The way she carried this spark, like she'd smuggled sunlight into the room. She reminded him what it felt like to be a live C. and he hadn't realized how much he'd missed that feeling. The next morning, rain streaked down the windows, thunder rolling somewhere in the distant sea. Lucas made coffee see, and he set one last test. It was a system optimization algorithm, clean on the surface C, but deep inside, a logical flaw sharp enough to trip even a seasoned developer. Then he waited. Clara came in at 8 sharp. Ethan was still asleep. She set her bag down, and her eyes immediately landed on the open laptop. She frothed C. Technical coffee? Lucas asked, holding out a mug. Her eyes narrowed. Are we still playing the game where you dangle broken logic in front of me just to see if I'll bite? He shrugged. Maybe C, but I added cinnamon this time C. She took a slow sip. Fancy. Then she wandered over, leaned over the laptop, and skimmed the code for all of 3 seconds before letting out a short laugh. Seriously? A loop with a variable called test for Clara? Lucas's eyebrows shot up. You found that fast. I found it instantly. You didn't even bother to hide it. He chuckled, then his smile faded. Okay, you got him, C. But can I ask you something real this time? Her expression shifted, cautious now. Depends. Why didn't you ever tell me? Tell you what? That I moonlight as a ghost developer? That I write code between bedtime stories? That you're brilliant. Clara tilted her head. The playful spark in her eyes dimmed, replaced by something steadier. Because people like me, she said quietly, get boxed in. We're the help, Clara said softly. The nanny. The background character. Her eyes locked on his. Do you think anyone would take me seriously if I walked into your office and said, hey, I rebuilt a better version of your platform in my head while folding laundry? Lucas didn't answer. You only noticed me because I fixed something valuable to you, she went on. But I've always been here, Lucas. Always this capable C. You just didn't look. The words landed harder than he expected. He stared down into his coffee, then lifted his gaze back to her. You're right. And I'm sorry. Clara blinked. She hadn't expected an apology. I don't want to turn you into a spectacle, he added quietly. But I also don't want to pretend this doesn't matter. Her brow knit. What is this exactly? He stepped closer. You. Your mind. Your precinct C. Your impact on this company, and on my life C. Clara's lips parted, but no sound came. She closed them again. You're not just part of this story, he continued. You are the story. She stared at him. For once, no sarcasm, no playful jab. Just a quiet, steady, I need to think. I understand. I need to know this isn't just you being grateful. It's not. I need to know it's not because I fixed what your Ivy League team couldn't. It's not. Clara drew in a slow breath, then turned toward the door. But just before stepping through, she stopped. Next time you want to test my brain, she said without turning, don't do it with Cod C. Just ask me to stay. And then she was gone. C. What about you? Do you think Lucas truly sees her for who she is? Or is this still just admiration dressed up as gratitude? 3 weeks passed. Lucas didn't test her again. No broken spreadsheets. No faulty Cod C. No little notes left behind like breadcrumbs. He wanted to respect the line she'd drawn that morning in the kitchen. But the silence between them wasn't cold. It was patient, like a blank page waiting for the pen. They still talked, mostly about Ethan, his latest school drawings, his fascination with frogs, the Lego empire slowly swallowing the living room. But under all that everyday chatter, something else hummed. Unspoken, unresolved, undeniable C. Then came the crisis. It was a Friday morning when Lucas's CTO burst into his office, panic practically vibrating off him. The company's main server cluster had gone dark. Completely. 6 servers down. Backups unresponsive C. Clients already calling with threats of lawsuits. Millions of dollars at stake, bleeding by the hour. It was the nightmare scenario every tech executive fears. And no one had a clue what was causing it. Lucas threw the entire engineering team into emergency MODC. For hours, they tore through logs, rebooted systems, ran simulation after simulation. Nothing. No root cause C. No fix. Just the clock ticking and the company's reputation fraying by the second. Meanwhile, in the living room, Clara was folding laundry when she caught sight of Lucas pacing like a man ready to walk straight out of his own skin. Quietly, she walked to the office doorway, Ethan's favorite blanket draped over her arms. Want to tell me what's going on? She asked softly. Lucas didn't even look up. Everything's crashing. My team can't find the Sour C. We're losing millions by the hour. I don't know what to do. She tilted her head. Have you looked at the cache module? He frothed C. No, we've been focused on the network SID C. Clara stepped into the room, set the blanket gently on the armrest, and moved behind him. Start here, she said, pointing to a line on his monitor. Check the memory spikes. See that timestamp? Lucas's brow furrowed as he followed her lead. Clara, there's a leak, he breathed. A persistent one, she said. It's hidden. It won't show up in testing, only after long run times. You found it. I've seen the pattern before, she said quietly. In your old simulation. This isn't your first ghost error, Lucas. You just didn't know what you were hearing. His fingers flew across the keyboard, executing commands with precision. Clara stayed close, steady and focused, grounding him like she always seemed to do. Within 20 minutes, the patch was in Plaque C. The servers began rebooting. One by one, the screens lit back up. Data restored. Clients calmed. Disaster averted. The room went still, that heavy kind of silence that comes after you've been holding your breath for hours. Lucas turned to her. You just saved the company. Again. Clara shrugged lightly. Just another Friday. No, he said quietly. It's more than that. Lucas pushed back his chair and stepped closer, his expression steady. Clara, I need to say something. And this time, I'm not hiding behind bugs or spreadsheets or broken algorithms. She folded her arms, but there was a softness in her eyes now. I'm listening. I admire you. I respect you. But more than that, I care about you. Deeply. Not because you're brilliant. Not because you keep saving my company. But because when you're here, everything feels clearer. More human. More real. Lucas. He held up a hand. No expectations. No pressure, see. I just needed you to know. I'm done pretending I'm not thinking about you every second I'm not in a meeting. Clara didn't respond right away. Instead, she walked around him, let her fingertips brush the edge of the desk, and then turned to face him. Do you know what I wanted to be when I was 15? She asked. He shook his head. A software architect, she said, a soft smile tugging at her lips. And then, life happened. But I don't regret it. Because if everything hadn't fallen apart, I never would have met Ethan. Or you. Lucas swallowed hard. Then what do you want now? I want a life that doesn't make me choose between my brain and my heart, she said quietly. I want to build something real. With people who see me, all of them see. He reached out. She didn't move away. Then let's build it together, he said. The audience turned as Clara made her way to the stage. Jeans, a simple navy blouse, nothing flashy. She stood beside Lucas, nerves flickering in her smile, but her chin held high. I'm not here to talk about code, she began, her voice steady into the mic. I'm here to remind you that intelligence doesn't always come with a diploma, and value doesn't always come with a tittle C. A quiet murmur rippled through the room. Sometimes brilliance is buried under responsibility, she went on. Sometimes it's folding laundry while debugging memory leaks. The audience laughed, warm, genuine laughter, before the applause broke out. Real applause, see. Let's stop looking at people for what they lack, Clara continued, and start seeing them for what they quietly carry. Because I promise you, the next billion-dollar idea might come from someone nobody saw coming. This time, the room rose to its feet. Applause thundered like a summer storm. Later that night, Lucas found her on the rooftop terrace, the Chicago skyline glittering behind her. Ethan was asleep in Sea. The air was soft with the scent of spring rain. Was that too much? He asked. You mean your speech? Or your heart? She teased. He grinned. Both. She leaned in and kissed him, soft, certain, steady. When they pulled apart, she whispered. That was long overdue. See. I was debugging my feelings, he said with a smirk. You're lucky I'm patient. They both laughed. And for once, the silence between them wasn't waiting for anything else. See. It simply was. What about you? Did you feel Clara and Lucas's connection from the very start? Or did you watch it grow line by line, moment by moment? Type yes if you felt their chemistry spark the first time she touched the keyboard. Comment 100 if you think this story deserves to be shared far and wide. See. And let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know how far Clara's story has traveled. Because brilliance can come from anywhere. See. Even from the most unexpected places.